What's going on? So I just got an Axe 2 and I thought I'd show you guys how I use it to record because it does some really cool stuff that I don't think some people quite understand. So let me show you. Okay, now first and foremost, I have to say, recording a DAW is basically the hardest fucking thing you can do on a computer. I tried to do this video yesterday and that shit just wasn't fucking happening. I had zero patience yesterday and yeah, no. So the only way I can get it to work is I have to use a plugin that routes the audio kind of weird so that OBS doesn't freak the fuck out. Because if any audio device is already in use, OBS just shits the bed and shuts down. Really fucking annoying. So there's going to be mad lag between what you see me playing and what you hear in the video. I'm going to try to fix it in post so it lines up a little bit better so it's not annoying as shit to watch, but I don't know how well I'm going to be able to do that switching between the two. I don't know, I'll do what I can. Anyway, on to the show. Yeah, so mad lag, but you know, it is what it is. So I have the Axe 2 on back there, and it's plugged into the computer via USB. Once you get the USB thing kind of sorted out, it's super easy. Now I had to install drivers and all that other kind of shit. I had it plugged in the port in the front, and every time I turned it on or off, my keyboard and mouse would stop working. So that was a bit of a problem. I found out that if I plug it into the motherboard directly, it's good to go. So if you're having that problem, that's why. Plug it into a different USB port. Thank you, Fractal Forums. Would have tried it eventually probably anyway, but you saved me a step. Very cool. What's cool about this is that you can run the Fractal Axe Edit program right here, and this allows you to completely control the thing without monkeying around on the little screen that's on it. Now the screen that's on it's pretty good, and it has the wheel and buttons and stuff on it, so it's pretty easy to navigate, but this is way easier. You can literally just drag and drop and click shit, and it's so much easier. But that's not just the coolest thing about this, because not only can you control it via USB, you can actually record via USB. This shows up in your DAW as an actual input, like a sound card. So you can go in and select it as Axe, and use it as a direct input. Yeah, it's going to sound like shit. I'm sorry. There's nothing I can do. To try to get the best audio I can out of this, I'm just going to pick a preset on the Axe and close Axe Edit for now. As soon as I opened that, it got worse, so we're just going to close out of that for now, because holy delay, Batman. Now what you can do is actually record directly into the computer, and you can also reamp. When you reamp, you'll record your regular tracks, your affected tracks. Jeez. You'll record your affected and processed tracks and everything directly out of the Axe, but you'll also record a dry guitar track with nothing on it. And using USB, you can send it back through the Axe, change the effects and everything else that you want, and send it back to the computer again via USB with new effects, new amps, new cabinets, new everything. It's called reamping. It's amazing. You can do it as many times as you want. You can also do it in software, and it's actually a little bit easier in software. If you're using a program like, are you recording, you piece of shit? You can actually use a program like Amplitude 4, and it's even easier to reamp with this because when you use something like this, you're actually only recording a dry track anyway. You're not recording anything with effects on it because you're going directly into the sound card. With that dry track, you can go through and tweak all the buttons and knobs and everything on Amplitude to your heart's content, because you're not really doing anything destructive to the original track. It's not changing at all. It's the same kind of thing with the Axe, but you can do kind of both at the same time. You can record a actual affected process track and a dry track at the same time if you want. Very cool, very handy. Gotta love it. Technology, right? So I was actually going to play something, but being as this is a laggy, jerky piece of shit right now, I'm not gonna, because it'll just sound like balls anyway. But I think you get the point. you can actually go directly into the machine via USB. My God, latency for days. Anyway, you can go directly into the machine via USB, record and reamp and everything with no other cables at all. Now, the 2 Notes Torpedo that I had did something similar. You can actually record silently and everything using a real guitar head and everything else. That was the setup that I had before this, and I liked it. But the thing I didn't like about it was that you still had to have it's still output analog. The 2 Notes Torpedo Live outputs an analog signal, like a regular line-out audio signal, like a headphone jack or whatever. They do that because it's designed to be used live, hence the name, right? There is a 2 Notes Torpedo Studio, I think is what it's called, and it'll output via USB because it's kind of designed to be used in the studio. I like their naming conventions. I didn't have that one. That one's bigger and more expensive and everything else. I liked the Live, but I like this better. A little simpler and everything. I highly recommend the 2 Notes stuff. It is fantastic. Really, you can't go wrong with any of these methods. The 2 Notes method, Axe-Fx, or any of the other direct USB card things. Hell, my little Blackstar ID Core 10, whatever the hell, that you can plug in via USB and use as a sound card if you want. It does the same exact thing as the Axe-Fx, it's just not as high quality. The Amplitude stuff, or Bias FX, Bias, whatever the hell, the other, just straight up Bias. They have all these different programs now where you get the same kind of functionality, you record dry and then you can affect it later. It's all very, very cool. It's all modern tech and sounds great. Line 6 Helix, you can do even more than with this. That thing has more ins and outs on it than I've ever seen on a freaking pedal board ever. You can do routing in that thing that'll blow your damn mind. You can even do vocals and stuff through it. I think it'll even send phantom power to a mic, if I'm not mistaken. I'll annotate that somewhere, whether or not I'm right, because I don't know offhand. But I wish this did that too. If this would send phantom power to my condenser mic, I would actually be able to get rid of my my UX2, my line 6 that I use as an input for that. Because you have to send phantom power to it or it won't work, and the Axe-Fx doesn't do that. So I wish it did, and I'm pretty sure the line 6 Helix does. But all these options that we have these days are really, really awesome and afford us a lot of flexibility, both recording and in post, because you can change shit like endlessly. Pretty fucking amazing. I mean, it ain't cheap, but when you think about what you're getting, it's actually pretty amazing, because the list of amps and shit in this thing is monstrous. Let me see if I can switch it over for you so you can see Axe Edit. Stand by. There we go. It's just a little tiny baby window. I'll have to fix that, but yeah, whatever. You can actually go in here and do amp and change fucking just everything. Your power supply, your power amp, preamp, global EQ. Oh shit, I didn't even know that was there. That's pretty cool. Speaker drive? I don't even know what that is. Dynamics. It'll make your head spin. And then you have all the different amps that you can actually go through and choose from. Let's see, you got PV, kind of 6160. I think it's a wannabe 5150, but they can't use the trademarked name, so they have to call it something else. You'll see that in here some stuff they just call flat out Plexi, Friedman, the Brown Eye, and the I don't know what HBE is. And then you have some of them that are kind of like, okay, we know what this is. Solo is Soldano. You know, some of them are pretty obvious, but not named what they're actually supposed to be. Brit 800 is obviously JCM 800. Anyway, you get the point. There's tons and tons of amps, and you can go into the cabinet. It's the same kind of thing. You can pick from, you know, a billion different cabinets and mics, like mic left, cab right, mic right. Go through and you can do root. It's unbelievable. It really is incredible. So yeah, if anyone knows a better way to record a DAW without massive lag and glitches and shit, feel free to leave it down in the comments, because even after a bunch of Googling, this is the best I could find. It's just not an easy thing to do at all. But definitely open to suggestions and shit. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, any of that bullshit, be sure to like, share, subscribe, and all that happy horse shit. I will talk to you later. Bye.